When you think about a game made into an anime, you don't think very much, unless they're from some light novels or it's a Fate gacha game. But Persona series of games have been becoming very popular and receiving lots of praise recently. A while back I played through the entirety of Persona 4 on my phone using an emulator so that I can get the most portable Persona experience possible. I put in around 100 hours into the game and I enjoyed it a lot. But I'm not here today to talk about Persona 4. What I will be talking about is Persona 4 the animation, which is an anime adaptation of Persona 4 the game. When you make an anime adaptation of a video game, especially RPGs, it's different from adapting it from a manga or a light novel, because unlike those mediums, player interaction is a key feature in video games. And when you attempt to turn that into a smooth flowing watching experience, it really does not always have to go the right way. Persona 4 is a huge game with more than 75 hours of gameplay, and shrinking that down into 25 episodes is indeed a huge task. When you watch anime, you still feel like you're watching an anime adaptation of a game, but AIC did a really good job not to make it feel like you're watching completely an unconnected show from the game. So firstly, I'm going to answer the big question. Should I play the game before watching this anime? And the answer is no. It adapts the old game from start to finish, and you do not need to know anything about the Persona 4 or what Persona 4 is about to enjoy the show. I got a friend of mine who had not even know what Persona is, and I showed it to him and he actually enjoyed everything about the show. I might make some comparisons with the game so that I can better explain what's going on, but mostly I'm going to be focusing on the anime itself. Persona 4 starts off with the protagonist Yu Narukami moving to a small town called Inaba from Tokyo. Yu joins the local high school and makes a couple of friends and tries to fit in and live a normal life. But a couple of days later, strange murders start happening in Inaba, which is somehow connected to the mysterious world, which can be accessed by entering through the TV. Yu gets a power of using personas, which are monsters you can summon using the mind. The characters have to find mysteries behind the TV world and uncover the truth behind the murders. When you first hear about the plot, it sounds like something written while chewing 5 gum at the same time, and that's okay because this was made for a JRPG, and the only thing that JRPG needs is big titties. But really, it's an interesting plot which touches on topics like acceptance, trust, societal norms. The show switches between funny and goofy to murders, kidnapping, and heavy character exploration using the social link system, which is a key component of Persona franchise. The social link system is an important system in game which increases your ability according to how much you interact with the characters, and in the anime they have tried to cover everyone's social links, even though I wouldn't say they did a perfect job of it. The anime does cover the entire plot of Persona 4's story without any anime original content added into it. It also got an OVA which finishes the story with an alternative ending for people who want to watch the true ending. When you adapt a story which is intertwined with the gameplay so much, it's a bit hard to actually make it flow, and this is also the place where the show starts having the biggest problems. The pacing here is a mixed bag. Sometimes it can go completely fine, but other times it will speedrun through 30 hours of gameplay in a single episode. I get why they have to do this to keep the pacing interesting, but the actual problem is not explaining the plot points, which are sometimes very crucial to the story. This is a problem not just for people who have played the game, but also for people who are watching the anime for the first time. They start by not explaining something in the beginning of the show and expects you to know it through the middle of the show. One of the biggest examples is how they keep mentioning Velvet Room in the beginning of every episode, even though they barely explain what it actually does. Even though these cuts and misses certainly does hurt, it still does have the complete meat of the story, so people who are planning to watch for the first time is not going to feel missed out. Now moving on to the strongest part of the show, and that are the characters. First of all, I want to talk about the protagonist of the show, which is Yu Narukami. In game, he is shown as a silent person, and you're given the options to choose dial options from. In the anime, I really like how Yu has been portrayed. Just like in game, Yu isn't a fan of talking much and has very cold, expressionless look, which just works for some reason. Even though he doesn't have any expressions, it actually works in favor of him. Just because Yu doesn't talk or show expressions doesn't mean he can do that when he needs to. During fight scenes, Yu can get totally serious, and when he needs to make someone laugh, he can be funny. I think this is an interesting way of doing video game characters because sometimes you don't always have to stick to the traditional way of doing things. I understand not everyone is going to like Yu's character, but I think this was a refreshing take. Other side characters like Chie, Yosuke, Yukiko, Kanji, Teddy, or Kuma, and Naoto are all just like in game. They all have fun factors and charm to them, and that's really good because the characters are one of the strongest points of Persona 4 and they haven't messed up in that department in any way. Also, the side characters like the delivery girl Aika is also done really well, but I do have to say Teddy screaming Kuma at the end of every episode in the Japanese dub and his annoying puns in the English dubs really does give me brain damage. Some characters' social links do go a bit faster than I would have liked, but mostly the characters are well developed and when you get to the end you don't feel like you're missing something. Now, talking about the presentation, it doesn't win any particular awards for anything. Most of the show is animated pretty well without any issues, the personas are all drawn very well, and the fight scenes, even though not the most amazing thing you will ever see, are still done very well for what it is. The anime also nailed the yellowish and playful color tones of the game nicely, and overall it's a very fun color palette which invites you in most of the time. Now, I can't end this without mentioning the banger soundtracks of Persona 4. I think Persona 4 has some of the best soundtracks in all of gaming, and the anime takes the entire catalog and only adds more onto it, and better part is that the stuff they added into it are also bangers. Taking the whole stock of the Persona 4's music library and using them perfectly according to scenarios really gave me a boner, and I sleep in peace knowing that they did a good job with the audio. Also, I personally enjoyed the English dub of the show more than the Japanese dub, and that was only because I couldn't stand Teddy in the Japanese dub, but the English dub isn't perfect either because of the annoying bear puns Teddy makes. Other than that, both of these dubs are pretty good and you should be fine with choosing any of these. So in the end, should you watch this anime? And my answer is a clear yes. It's a solid anime with good characters, funny comedy, and pretty intriguing story. This is a pretty good adaptation of the game for someone who does not have the time to invest into playing the whole game. It's not perfect, but I think it does a good job for someone who wants to enjoy the story. Anyway, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoy. See ya later.